His confliction is he hails from St. Louis and describes that as to be one of his greatest influences, which can definitely be seen through his charitable works and also his performances. He likes to use his talent to create a self-love and self-awareness movement as well. He's the host of Pagedale's annual Red Ribbon Drug Prevention Program and also facilitates various workshops, including Poetry for Personal Power and also Provident Counseling. Is that correct? Yeah. You also mentored at the St. Louis Juvenile Detention Center. Yes. And have performed at the Pan-African Film Festival in Los Angeles in 2015. And you were the St. Louis Slam Champion in 2013. And most recently, Poet of the Year, named Poet of the Year by St. Louis Star Awards. That is extremely impressive.
Well, thank you very much. It sounds a whole lot better when you put it all together like that, right?
How does it feel to hear those accolades and those titles? What does that mean to you to be a slam champion?
I never really know. Like, it's just kind of like a measure of someone else's competition. You kind of pat yourself on the back for it, but at the same time, you can't really use it to validate you any more than anything else. So I enjoy slamming and things like that, but to like consider myself like as a slam champion as instead of someone who has won slam championships kind of keeps it into perspective for me. You know?
That's really humbling.
Yeah.
So what do you use as a measure of success or as a measure to, if you do identify as a great spoken word artist?
Getting to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I think that's ultimately one of my greatest measures of success. I remember I used to get on stages and I worried so much about what the audience wanted from me. Right. I wouldn't give them what I felt like they should have. And I think that over the years I've become a lot more organic with just being myself and, you know, feeling the crowd and things like that. And I think that's really one of my greatest signs of success outside of everything, being able to be fully organic, 100% myself, and be able to roll with whatever comes along that way.
Okay, so you walked right into this, so I have to ask, what are some examples of things that the audience wanted you to be versus who you wanted to be as a performer?
I can't really say because I don't talk to the audience individually, so I usually can just go from the energy in the crowd. So, for instance, if you're coming up behind a sexual poet or a poet that has a different subject matter, maybe a little raunchy or maybe heavy or rebellious, when you get people up in the energy, they want more of that. They expect more of that. So, or because some of my poems use humor, I'll do maybe 2 funny poems, and then they're expecting for my whole set to represent comedy, and then it gets a little awkward when the next piece I have like digs a little deeper, you know. So just different situations where I felt self-conscious about changing the energy or moving the wave of the whole room, like according to something that I wanted outside of something that I was seeing.
When you say doing something a little deeper, would that be reflective of your experiences mentoring at the Juvenile Detention Center, or like more relationship type things?
Well, everything that I write about usually kind of represents philosophy more than literal action. So although I use a bunch of different things from my life, and pretty much everything represents my life because I've interacted with all these things, I more so ask questions about like our nature rather than the situational, even though if I am using a situational instance, what I'm really still calling to more is like what got us here. Why is what in the deeper nature of us is moved by this, or can you be moved just by me mentioning something so small? But you know, because it's not really small if it's representing a deeper principle or, you know, greater path.
Do you think that those answers, it's more homogenous, or are you feeling separated from your fan base or just from society?
Well, me personally, I think it's very homogenous because I'm only expressing myself. So regardless of any way that it's taken from anyone else, they still receive it. If 100 people disagree with me completely, I still know that it was received in some way. Right. And that's my goal. Like, I got on the stage to be heard. I felt like my position, my demographic wasn't represented properly. So I just wanted to speak from the point of view of a young black male who wanted to be good for no other reason than he wanted to be good. not really having any other roads to walk down. So regardless of how anyone interacts with me from my poetry, I think the fact that they interact with me from my poetry does enough for me already.
Where did you get that drive from? That passion to be identified and not just to be seen a part of the masses and have a voice?
I think that drive came from, or has always been with me, just in wanting to be understood as an individual and realizing how deserving everyone is of understanding. I remember being a child and seeing different situations with friends, family, and like just neighbors where people would be talked about so bad for simply having emotions or being hurt or wanting attention or different things like that. And I just feel like it's so much a part of us, then one, why not do it if it's so much a part of us? But two, I can never really get to know me unless I'm truly organically me. Like, if I'm doing everything according to someone else's way, then I'm never really going to find myself. So if my goal ultimately is just to find myself, then I just hope that you can find yourself too, or at least see me more in my statements, rather than work towards the whole script of the supposed to be.
Right, absolutely. And different does not necessarily mean have to be something that's attacked.
Yeah.
Like, this is variation and diversity, but I don't know why that's something that's innate so as to feel threatened because someone's different or offering something that different.
I don't think that people only have issues with difference when they don't see the value in their uniqueness. I think that if you don't see your value, then everything gets mixed up. The same person that feels like I'm one in all of these people on the planet, no one's ever want to go and pay attention to me. That makes you feel small. But if you value yourself differently, you could be like, I'm the only one of me on this entire planet, and that is magnificent. So it's like the half full.
You really
empty,
mean that? Like, I can see the glow in your face when you're talking about that.
Because I am just as individual as every other person. So even the fact that I'm talking to you and you listen and you respond, that's magnificent. Because we both have had situations where we know that wasn't the case.
Right.
So me feeling,
and it does make you question your self-worth.
Oh man, yeah. And you sometimes we'll work so hard to get understanding from someone else that we haven't realized the person that really haven't tried to get understanding from was ourselves. So it's like, I could be the best or the worst poet, the best speaker or the worst speaker, but I'm going to be myself organically in whichever way I'm received. I got to be appreciative of it because I put myself on the platform to be received to start with.
Absolutely. What are some of your goals?
My goals to save the world, Craig. I don't know. I want to save the world. My real goal is just to help remind my people of our greatness. And I think I start with myself and I work with it every day. Just my friends and family. We are awesome people, and there are so many things that we fight against. I won't say that it's not necessary because it's happening. So that's a basic effect of the necessity. But I do believe that we could do better. So that's my ultimate goal, is just to remind everybody of how dope they are. If I can remind everyone of how awesome they are and how worthy they are of being loved and how much they deserve consideration, then I won't ever have to be worried again. If I can convince everybody else that they deserve to be considered, I never have to convince anybody to consider me.
Hashtag your inner dopeness.
Hashtag your inner dopeness. I like that.
I do too. We have to start that. Are you currently on tour? Where have you toured? And do you have anything significant coming up? Just real quick, if you have any questions or comments, then tweet them to @AhavaMaure. That's AHAVAHMAURE. And we'll try to address them before the end of this segment. So go ahead and tweet those now.
I travel pretty regularly, so I don't really say that I tour very much because I'm always traveling. I used to put together like big, like this is this tour and this is that tour. Now I kind of just go wherever I go, and I'm always somewhere. So I'll be in Chicago on the 31st of this month with Real Talk and Emerald Green and Harold Green, and we're going to have a phenomenal time. So
they are phenomenal.
You're going to please come get some of this love because we're about to give this love out wholeheartedly. I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing. So
we all wish you the best.
Yeah, and I pretty much have traveled all over the country from New York to California. I've been to St. Thomas in Puerto Rico performing.
Did you perform there?
Like that,
Okay.
yeah. So been around, still trying to go further. Haven't quite been fully overseas, but actually working on that. And yeah, just working at it little by little.
Which place that you traveled offered you the greatest lesson, either about yourself or just performing?
I will say 3 places if I can put them all together, and they kind of all helped me think the same thing, which was really more of just to accept myself. And I would say that is Philly, that is Detroit, and that is New Orleans.
Okay. Philly and Detroit, I can see how
For
those.
different reasons. Like when I got to New Orleans, the love was so organic there, but the energy was so strong that I didn't really know how to deal with it.
Okay.
But there were times where I didn't know where to go or what to do, and someone would come out of nowhere like, "What do you need? I will help you." And coming from where I came from, I didn't even believe that to be possible. So just showing me that type of camaraderie even existed did something for me. Philly is like my second home. And I realized there, because like the black people speak to each other, and that was really odd for me, because coming from St. Louis, when you're walking down the street, you really don't talk to anybody that's walking down the street. You mind your business, they mind their business.
I didn't know it's like that.
So I went to Philly, and I'm seeing these quote unquote grimy looking individuals looking at me weird, and I'm worried about myself. Like, man, why are these guys just staring at me? And they're like, "What up, bro? You okay?" I'm like,
No, I'm really not right now.
well, yeah, I guess I am okay. Like, and I'm walking down the street, and another guy like, "Hey, what up, fam? What it is? What up, kid?" I'm like, I don't know any of you, but and that, so that just showed me that it was possible. And finally, Detroit, because Detroit is like St. Louis a whole lot to me, but Detroit is very sarcastic, and I think just being in a place where people could be comfortable enough to do that, to be humored with you, not knowing you. Because when I first got to Detroit, I had like 2 situations where the person that I was getting my gas from and buying my food from, they were being sarcastic, and I took offense. But then I caught that they were welcoming me. Like that sarcasm is the way of their people,
Comfort.
and me being able to be a part of that was more welcoming than if he had say, "Hey, welcome, thank you for coming." That sarcasm was the brand of himself, and I realized that we all have that. And sometimes we can take offense, but if we just look at situations and try to find the common ground, we can really see how we can be validated by it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's how those 3 pretty much plugged in on just validated me on how awesome life could be, or like how these other places, if I do go, I will find something if I choose to look for it.
Absolutely. So you heard it first, your inner dopeness, and what was the other one? The brand of you.
The brand of you, hashtag your inner dopeness.
So we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, Louis Confliction is going to grace the stage.
Gospel Peoria. Tune in Saturday nights at 7:30 on Comcast Cable Channel 22. Watch revealing positive information with various topics, people, and arts. Also, be sure to visit our Gospel Peoria TV Facebook and YouTube channel, where you can watch show segments, information, and updates about the program. That's Gospel Peoria TV on Comcast, Saturdays at 7:30 p.m., Channel 22. Now that's television with an innovative touch.
Okay, we're back. I'm sitting here with Louis Confliction, and he's about to give you a special treat. This is Louis Confliction in his awesome piece, Kinky Love.
Kinky love. Natural, right? I love natural. I like her when she's silky, but I love it when she's kinky. I love it when she's free to do nothing other than just be. Let her hair grow like the trees in the forest, rather than the bushes in front of porches, because they always so uptight. Bushes so clean cut that any growth isn't to be seen. Bushes so clean cut that there isn't any growth to be seen. So I told her to keep clipping off those ends and keep stripping off those leaves, and you'll never see the beauty that could be just from growing free. And she is my Mother Nature eternally. Her skin sucks up the sun like flowers in May. And I've watched her over the years, and I'd seen how she'd sway between loving herself and everyone else, and how her crown would reflect what her heart projects. I remember when the people came, started to tell her their beliefs and give them her brain. And then slowly things began to change. They started to change her image. Started to build skyscrapers to constrict her nature. And eventually, she wanted to be like the buildings that she would see. She started to mimic those straight lines that were all over her world, never realizing that her vines were meant to swirl, twist and twirl, lock and unfurl like life. Her vines represented existence. There's going to be some kinks along the road, but they're necessary for growth. Sometimes you need that vine to unwind just so you can see it wind again. Sometimes you got to watch that vine rewind just so you can see that there ain't no straight lines in nature. Now understand that I love her, and whichever way I can have her, I will take her. I've seen her through forest fires and chemical spills and degradation and gentrification. I'm talking about hot combs and perms and weave integration. And let me say that I'm not hating. I love it when she feels beautiful that way. I just wish that she didn't have to. Love it when I can run my fingers through her hair, feel her scalp, free of tracks and feel them naps, because I love to kick it in the kitchen. So you can tell PCJ good riddance. I don't care if your perm has no lie. I am fond of your crown as is. No lie, no mousse, no foam. Lock up, no comb. I don't see nothing wrong as long as my fingers can roam freely through the leaves of your nature. So you can pick it out, you can oil it, and you can style it, protect it for later, and understand that your crown is of power and greatness and honor. And I can't wait to put barrettes on my little baby girl's hair who got crowns just like they mama, so twisted and braided and accessorize it, whatever, you know. Holler at your sister, get your curl patterns together, get you a toothbrush for them edges, get you a scarf for when the day ends, learn to accept humidity and coconut oil as your best friend, and I'll be there to the end. And I swear to you with my pinky, because I like them when they silky, but I love them when they kinky. Thank you. First time I ever did that piece from memory. That was awesome. We got through that. That was.
So I just have one imperative question.
Yes.
Is your love life off limits? Can we talk about that today?
Oh no, I don't have anything that's off limits in my life. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it.
Okay, wonderful, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that has a few questions about that now after a hot and steamy poem like that.
Hot and steamy. I like that. About hair. That's dope. See how it transcends out there? Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's just my mind. I don't know. So
more natural, so it works.
Was that about a combination of experiences or something, some experience, someone in particular?
No, that was about a mixture of experiences. That was about my mother's hair. And my mother is a beautician, and so she's been doing hair for a long time. Recently, my mother just locked up. So I witnessed her not having to go through all of the issues that she would have from all the chemicals she would have to put in her hair, the drying and all of that. So I just realized just whether, no matter which way you consider natural hair, like I appreciate the times that my woman doesn't have to do anything to their hair, you know, like just be free. I like the nappy fro. I like whichever way it turns up, you know, make my fun, have my fun with my fingers in it, but that's just a part of us naturally. I've done hair, and, you know, I've done mate's hair, and I've done my cousin's hair, and when I was younger, my mother used to make me do my little brother and my cousin's hair, so she would do mine because she didn't feel like braiding 3 heads. So,
wait, is that where you learned the toothbrush on the edges trick?
All of those things that I said is like real life. Like I know how to do hair. I can cut, twist, braid, perm. I've had a situation, you know, where I didn't like a lover's hair, so I took her hair out myself and did it better. You get what I'm saying? Like,
did she like it afterwards?
Oh, she liked it.
Okay.
Afterwards. She was really mad when I cut it out of her hair in her sleep.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it was a horrible situation, but I told her I was going to do it. I feel like her friends didn't treat her well. You know how people supposed to tell you if something going on. Well, my mom is a beautician, so I know if the tracks.
Oh, so you're saying it wasn't.
Yeah, I feel like her friends didn't take care of her, and I'm like, if you're going to be around with me, I'm going to let you know that that's not right. You're beautiful. You're so beautiful that let's just get this together. And she was like, no. I was like, don't you fall asleep here. You fall asleep on my lap, I'm going to cut it. I'm telling you, I'm not lying. You know I don't lie. And she giggled and she fell asleep and she woke up with no hair.
And the tracks were out.
And they were gone. And I went to the store. We got our hair together. I redid it. It was fine. Like she was happy afterwards, but I wasn't going to deal with that.
All for the good.
All for the good.
You have to find beauty in that. I do. I believe in it.
So needless to say, I really love hair. And like,
I was going to say, it sounds like that's a very, anything related to hair, doing hair, being able to bond over that, whether it's you two doing each other's hair or looking at new styles or buying products, is that very intimate to you?
Well, yeah, and it's also just in the amount of conversation that, like, even growing up, you know, when I was growing up, I didn't have problems with weave, you know what I'm saying, and things like that, because my mother knew about it and my mother used it, you know, so I didn't have some of the stigmas with, oh, she got weave in her hair. If anything, I was one of those teenagers who was like, oh man, her weave is perfect. That's a girl I'd like to talk to. She cares, she pays attention to detail, you know. So it's just like over, like the just the different ways that hair was a stigma for some young boys. It was never a stigma for me because my mother honestly didn't feel like she was going to live very long. So she wanted to make sure that if I ever had little girls and she wasn't there, that I could do my little girl's hair.
Absolutely.
If anything happened to the mother or anything like that. So, you know, it's kind of like the crazy genius.
Independence.
You know, she set me up for a lot of things early in life, but that also made me a lot more appreciative over time of just the dynamic, like a woman's relationship with her hair. I know a lot of women that don't have a relationship with their real hair, you know, and that's a real thing. Like they have no idea how their hair
And when you
grows.
say don't have her, okay.
With how their hair grows, with how it is naturally without being weaved or permed or something like that, without being affected by some external effect, you know. So it's just like, I'm like I said, I'm a fan of however you are, you know, grow whichever way that it is and whichever way makes you feel comfortable. By all means, you should at least have the liberty to try before someone else makes a decision that is less than acceptable.
Right. It reminds me of a comment. I don't recall when this was or what I was doing, but I ended up having a picture on Facebook of back, I want to say high school, when my hair was permed, which was actually, I would say, longer than shoulder length to the bust before I cut it off and got the fro. And my best friend, I love her to death, she was like, oh my gosh, why'd you cut your hair? You were so beautiful. Or it was so beautiful. Yeah, and I'm like, well, dang, I think I'm pretty all right now. You know?
Yeah, and it's just like,
but there you do have that.
Like even from my friends, and like I have friends who their parents have been married for over 20 years, but dad ain't never seen mama's real hair. And you know that hurts me. You get what I'm saying? Like, and it shouldn't, but it's just like, and whatever works for them does work for them. But I'm such a fan of organicity and freedom that I couldn't imagine being in any relationship where my mate had to consciously hide something that just literally happens with them for any reason, you know, whatever it is.
Whether it's hair or not.
Whether it's a poot on the couch. I'm going that far. I'm saying that if I love and accept somebody completely, then whatever it is that they feel is a part of their growth and their magnitude, I want to be a part, and not only a part, but a knowing and viable witness of it. I want to witness that growth. I want to be a part of it. I want to see that from and be like, oh, drape it. You know what I'm saying? I think the key thing, celebrate that.
I think the key thing that you said is whatever works for them, but you know what works for you. And you have a very strong idea of what excites you versus what you can merely tolerate.
Yeah.
And we all should have that understanding. So nothing other than just be. That's what you said. And clipping was also a theme. Is that symbolic of anything in your life beyond the hair, being able to evolve and not clip and cut prematurely because you don't know what can manifest?
Oh, very much so. I came up in a demographic where if you had long hair, then you were representing a certain culture of either unkeptness or thug or whatever, you know. So for a very long time, I had to keep my hair clean cut and short if I ever, and that was just in my own understandings of getting a job or things like that, you know. So in me growing my hair, like I would have never thought that my hair would ever end up as long as it is right now.
When'd you start growing it?
Ends, I think about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and I clipped the ends and things like that. But it's just different knowing that it can, you know. And it's different letting it happen because it happened. Like I wasn't cutting my hair because I did not want long hair. I was cutting my hair because I didn't want to deal with the societal institutions of judgment that were going to be placed upon me if I had longer hair.
Absolutely. So we have some questions. The first one is from Callie Love.
Okay.
They would like to know, could you see yourself ever cutting your hair and going to another natural look, or just restarting the dreads but short again?
Oh, most definitely. I am very bag in the wind. I'm very leaf in the wind. Like whatever moves me at the time. So these locks could be gone tomorrow, and then I might.
Those locks, wait, swing them around. Let me see. I don't know if they can see how long those are. I couldn't make that kind of chop right now.
These could be gone tomorrow, and I might cut them off and immediately start back. Like you might never even see me with a low cut because next week I'm gonna have a fro again. But it's just the journey. It's the process. Like I'm willing to go through whatever. So it's like I can't say yay or nay. You know, whoever I am tomorrow will determine on if I'll cut my hair or not.
Absolutely. Again, that freedom mantra from you.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Once again, Louis Confliction and his steamy poem, Kinky Love. All the ways, the varieties, freedom, evolution, not being restricted, and influences in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
This is Mike's Uncut.